Thank you, Pastor Forbes.
Yep, got two of them.
Ready? Good evening. We'd like to welcome you tonight to our board meeting. At this time, we're going to ask for a roll call. Ms. Cindy?
Ms. Richards?
Present.
Mr. Toller?
Here.
Ms. Abrams?
Here.
Mr. Westmoreland?
Present.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Anthony?
Here.
Mr. Moore? Mr. Piazza? Ms. Dominguez?
Present. At this time, we're going to have our introduction of the Pledge of Allegiance, and the patriotic song will be Mr. Trent Anthony.
Thank you. Thank you. So Dr. Hayden is the principal of Ponchatoula Junior High School, and she's actually kind of under the weather tonight, so she's not here, but she and I collaborated to provide the entertainment for tonight, so we are honored to be hosting two outstanding students. First is Daniel Clark. He'll be reciting the Pledge of Allegiance for us. Daniel is an 8th grader at Ponchatoula Junior High. He is 14 years old, and he is a big fan of all the major holidays. His hobbies include playing the drums, listening to music, singing. He is a big helper at school as well. He assists with carpool often, and he offers his assistance to staff members and students in many other ways. He is very popular on campus, and Daniel has a rare syndrome known as Williams syndrome, but that does not hold him back.
Yeah.
He is an outgoing, that's right, see? He has an outgoing personality and a love for attending school at Ponchatoula Junior High. So Daniel, if you can, we can all stand, he'll lead us in the pledge.
Our blood of allegiance. Of the United States of America. To the republic. As written on it will. Bar.
All right, y'all can actually remain standing because we're going to do the national anthem, but thank you so much, Daniel, that was awesome. So we have another student tonight who will sing the anthem for us. This is Taylor Grace Graziano. And Taylor is also an 8th grader at Ponchatoula Junior High School, and she recently won 2nd place overall at the Junior Beta State Convention held in Lafayette. For singing and playing the piano, so congratulations to her for that. And she's actually going on to compete at the Beta Nationals, which are being held this June in Louisville, Kentucky, and she will be performing her winning song from the state championship. So thank you, good luck, congrats. And she looks forward to next year when she will be a freshman at Ponchatoula High School, and she plans to join the choir there. So this should be a great addition for the choir at Ponchatoula High School. Her love for music and singing runs deep in the family, and she is so happy that Tangipahoa Parish School System has provided her opportunities to share her talents. Taylor, off you go. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does thy star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Madam President,
Yes.
I would like to recognize, too, we have a former school board member in the audience tonight. Mr. Mike Whitlow, it's good to have you tonight as a recovering school board member.
At this time, next on our agenda, we'd like to, item 1D, consider approval of board minutes of February the 28th, 2023.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Rose, second by,
Joey.
yes, Joey. Okay.
Voting is open.
No. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Awards and recognitions. Item A, recognize the 2022 to 2023 Students of the Year, Ms. Sharon Spring.
Good evening. I know most of you are here tonight to celebrate our Students of the Year, so we're going to take a few minutes and do that. We're going to recognize each of you. These students have worked hard and put in sacrifices necessary to achieve at the highest levels. Students are selected as Student of the Year based on criteria that measure academic achievement, leadership skills, character, and service to their schools and communities. The competition includes the scoring of a student-made portfolio of accomplishments, along with student writing samples and interviews to assess the communication and critical skills of each candidate. We'd like to congratulate all of you, along with their teachers, their principals, and their families. We're going to start with our 5th grade Students of the Year. From Amite Westside Middle School, Michael Washington. From Champ Cooper Elementary School, Parker Burlett. From Chesbro Elementary School, Adeline King. From Hammond Eastside Magnet School, Kashawn Richardson. From Hammond Westside Montessori School, Isabella Reyes. From Independence Leadership Academy, Kamari Melton. From LaRondra Middle School, Beckett Malazzo. From Lucille Neeson Memorial School, Jelia Brumfield. From Natal Binney Middle School, Kara Mays. From O.W. Dillon Elementary School, Zachary Myers. From Roseland Montessori School, Kaylee Tillery. From SLU Lab School, Noah Lindsay. From Spring Creek Elementary School, Jolie Grice. And from Martha Vineyard Elementary School, our district 5th grade Student of the Year, Dexter Montesino. For our 8th grade students of the year, from Amite Westside Middle School, Caitlin Self. From Champ Cooper Elementary School, Tristan Gore. From Greenville Park Leadership Academy, Riley Roundtree. From Hammond Westside Montessori School, Ariel Berto. From Independence High Magnet School, Aliana Robertson. From Kentwood High Magnet School, Violacia Cohen. From Laranger Middle School, Connor Husser. From Lucille Nisa Memorial School, Anai Davis. From Natal Benny Middle School, Aden Vasquez. From Ponchatoula Junior High School, Sydney Michelli. From Roseland Montessori School, Adeline Brock. From SLU Lab School, Madison Whitmer. From Sumner Middle School, Montana Kirkland. And from Hammond Eastside Magnet School, our 8th grade district student of the year, Your Majesty Garrett. For our 12th grade students of the year, from Amite High Magnet School, Mariah Woods. From Hammond High Magnet School, Graham Mizell. From Independence High Magnet School, Marius Jackson. From Kentwood High Magnet School, Ronnie Johnson. From Laranger High School, Jordan Young. From Sumner High School, Sarah Wages. And from Ponchatoula High School, our 12th grade district student of the year, Shelby Core. time, I'm going to ask Dexter, Your Majesty, and Shelby to come back up as our District Students of the Year. These students competed at the school level, at the district level. All of them are qualified to go to the zone level. All of them qualified to go to the regional level. So these young people represented themselves, their schools, their families in Tenchville Parish well. They were compassionate, they were kind, and they were
Looking back for you to call the next thing. Congratulations again. The next item is to recognize the 2021-2022 SPS performance recipients. Dr. Fursell.
Good evening. Well, especially tonight while our Student of the Year candidates are here, we want to recognize our schools who had growth in their SBS performance this past year. After 2 years of pandemic and a major hurricane, we had 23 schools who had growth, which comes from the hard work of our students and our teachers. So while our students were here tonight, we wanted to make sure we recognize those schools. So school, when I call your name, your school's name, if the leader will come forward, if any faculty members or students who are here will stand up, come forward and receive your certificate. So our first school is Hammond Westside Montessori, 4/10 of a point growth this year. And if both leaders will come down of that school. Our next school, Amy Westside Middle Magnet School, 6/10 of a point. 6/10 point. Ponchatoula Junior High School, 7/10 this past year. Amite High Magnet School, 1.6 this past year. SLU Lab School, 1.8 this past year. Lab School. Lucille Nisa Memorial School, 2.3. Laranja Middle School, 2.7. Chesbro Elementary, 2.8. O.W. Dillon Leadership, 2.8. Champ Cooper, 3.3. Hammond Eastside Magnet, 3.3. Greenville Park Leadership Academy, 3.4. Natal Benny Middle School, 3.5. Spring Creek Elementary, 4.8. Independence Leadership Academy, 4.9. Sumner Middle School cannot be here tonight. They'll be here at the next meeting. They were 4.9. Roseland Montessori, 5 points. Parent Early Learning Center, 7 points. Tucker Elementary School, 9 points. LaRonja Elementary, 9.5. The DC Reeves Elementary, 9.6. Midway Elementary, 15 points. Amite Elementary Magnet School, 21.4. And while these schools are up here, we have a few other special recognitions for a few of these schools while they're here. So 2 of these schools were named Top Gains by the Louisiana Department of Education. And to be named a Top Gain school, you have to have earned an A in your progress index, and you have to have no UIR labels for student groups or discipline. And those 2 schools are Chesbro Elementary and SLU Long. We also have 3 comeback schools. So the Louisiana Department of Education decided after the pandemic that they wanted to have a challenge to schools to meet certain criteria. So in order to be named a comeback school, you had to increase the percent of students that scored mastery and above, while decreasing the percent of students scoring unsat in both ELA and math. So you had to do both ELA and math. And we had 3 schools in Tangipahoa Parish who met that criteria. There were only 41 in the state, and 3 of them were in Tangipahoa Parish. And those 3 schools are first Greenville Park Leadership Academy, Midway Elementary School. And Sumner Middle School. And they received their banners from one of the assistant superintendents from the state in December. So that's why they already have their banners up at their schools. And the last recognition that, I feel like crying every time I read this, and I know that she is excited in her whole school, as they should be. But Amy Elementary Magnet School, number 3 in the state. Number 3 in the state. So that means that they were the 3rd highest in growth in the state, Amy Elementary School, with 21.4. Congratulations.
Boy, they'd have to really feel the love. Yeah, you want to do a video? Let's do a video.
Yes, yeah, we're going to have a video. Don't move.
Yeah, Bobby.
Right here, I had to move over there. That's a good problem. You good? Huh? It's good to see you. Thank you very much. You said you look dapper.
Excuse me before you leave. We are honored to have with us tonight in our audience the Delta Sigma Theta, and we'll have Ms. Osa Betts to come up and just have them to stand and introduce them.
Do you want me to do my name and address?
Let them know we're going to take a 5-minute break after this presentation.
And we'll be taking a 5-minute break afterwards.
Guys, if y'all would please give us 5 minutes to do this presentation. Take your voices down. After this short presentation, we're going to take a 5-minute break so everybody can exit, take pictures. But we would ask you to come to order for just a few more minutes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Board President Richards, board members, Superintendent Stilley. We're happy to be here this evening. I stand to introduce to you the Hammond Area Alumni Chapter. Okay, is that better?
Just get as close as you can. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is that better?
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay. I stand to introduce to you the Hammond Area Alumni and the North Tangipahoa Area Alumni chapters of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Delta Sigma Theta was founded at Howard University and incorporated in 1913. The founders' first act of public service was participating in the suffrage march of 1913. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a private, not-for-profit organization whose purpose is to provide assistance and support through established programs in local communities throughout the world. The sorority currently has 1,000 collegiate and alumni chapters located in the United States, Canada, Tokyo and Okinawa, Japan, Germany, the Virgin Islands, Bermuda, the Bahamas, Jamaica, West Africa, Southern Africa, United Arab Emirates, and the Republic of Korea. During the centennial that was held, the 51st National Convention that was held in the District of Columbia, more than 38,000 members of Delta Sigma Theta registered and attended that centennial. Our mission statement, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, is an organization of college-educated women committed to the constructive development of its members and to public service with a primary focus on the Black community. Our social action is Delta Sigma Theta Sorority has been committed to service through social action since our founding in 1913. Our 22 founders participated in the suffrage march in 1913. Just 2 months after establishing the sorority, and our members have been at the forefront of social and political struggles ever since. Under the direction of the National Social Action Commission, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority mobilizes our members, chapters, and national leaders to advocate for the sorority's predetermined positions and objectives. The National Social Action Commission was officially established in 1963 to provide information and direction to the membership on current civil rights issues. It traces its roots back to the Vigilance Committee, which was created to strengthen and unify the social action efforts of the sorority. As a result of these efforts, Delta Sigma Theta has become an integral part of the movement to secure equal political, educational, and economic rights for all Black people and all people. Chapters and members are engaged in a variety of social action activities focused on enhancing laws and policies to sustain and expand the rights and privileges of citizenship to all people and to protect the most vulnerable amongst us. These activities include active engagement in the legislative, executive, judicial, and regulatory affairs of the nation, promoting enlightened citizenship by providing fact-based information to elected officials and voters, research and advocacy of critical issues, monitoring legislation and at national, state, and local levels, voter registration, education, and mobilization, educating the public on public policy issues, encouraging Deltas to run for elected office. We have tonight the Hammond Area Alumni Chapter and the North Tangipahoa Area Alumni Chapter in collaboration for these efforts. So we want to thank you all for wearing your red tonight for us. We are so grateful. So thank you for allowing us to introduce this great organization and these great chapters. This is my sorority sister, Cherie Garrett, who is also who is social action chair for her committee, as I am for my chapter, for her chapter. President Evelyn Jones, are you back there for North Tangipahoa, and President Kimya Babis, who is absent for Hammond area. Oh, there she is. That's President Kimya Babis for Hammond area, and Evelyn Jones for North Tangipahoa.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
No.
Thank you all for coming and for all you do, because I know I see quite a few of the educators in there, and we appreciate everything that you do, and we invite you all to go to our website and click on our literacy program and become a partner. Thank you.
5 minutes.
Okay, at this time we'll take a 5-minute break.
Channel 17, proudly serving the Florida parishes.
Calling the meeting back to order. Item 3A, consider approval of Finance and Audit Committee of March 14, 2023.
Move to adopt the committee's report as presented.
Mr. Duncan?
Madam
Ms.
Chair,
Rose?
I'd like to make an amendment. The minutes,
Okay.
cooperative endeavor from the 500 to the 833 that was proposed during the committee meeting.
All right, so,
Make that in the form of a motion to amend it.
I'd like to second that motion.
so he's moving to pull action item C and consider it separately.
I think that was A. I think the 14th was actually the MOU.
Or that's the AMED MOU as action item C.
I think it's A.
No, of the finance report.
Oh,
He's moving to
Sorry.
pull and consider separately action item C from the finance committee's report.
Correct.
Okay.
We have to vote on that.
Okay.
Motion is to consider it separately.
Okay.
As was the second.
All right. Call to vote.
Wait,
Any questions?
he's wanting to pull something out of C.
No, he's
Out of-
pulling action item C out of the finance committee report of March the 14th, which is action item A on the board agenda.
Gotcha.
Yes. Joy?
Seconded by me, Ms.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy. Thank you.
Just a reminder, this first motion is just to pull it and vote and discuss it separately.
Voting is open. Yes, Ms. Cindy.
My computer is locked up.
Mr. Moore? Yes. Ms. Richards? Okay. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
So now I will move to consider, or to approve the committee's report exclusive of action item C.
Motion and second. Any questions? Call to vote.
Mr. Duncan, seconded by Mr. Westmoreland. Voting is open.
Jerry?
Yes, okay. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
So on item C, Madam Chairman, I'd like to amend item C by striking out the 500 and putting in the 833 for the agreement for the price. That would be the only thing that would change.
A second.
Call the question.
8:33?
833. Ms. Abrams seconded.
Yes. It's been motion and second. Questions?
Yeah, a couple, let me comment. Just to give a background on this, we've discussed it before, and we discussed it a little bit during the committee, but the decision then, I think, was to bring it to the full board so we could discuss it. And I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody on the board, but I think there's been a general consensus that we do want to help the city of Amite with this piece of property. But we do have to keep in mind that we do have things stored there currently. So we will be losing a piece of property that we do use. We may not use all of it, but we do lose. And the reason for the 833 is just simple. That's what we asked, Mr. Anthony to look up comparables in the area. That was the lowest side of the comparables that we could possibly pull for that many square feet. I want to help the city of Amite, but considering that we are a board for the school board, we have to look at our dollars and cents, which is why I'm recommending the 833. We all know that we've put improvements into the facility. At the current price of $500, it would take us 3 years just to break even on the improvements. I don't think that's good stewards to school dollars and the education dollars that we've put out there. So 833 would at least give the school system a fair rent for the property. It would also give the city of Amite an incredible deal on a piece of real estate that they can use temporarily until we decide what to do. So that's why I'm making the 833 amendment.
Just call the question on the amendment. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm all for good stewardship of the money, because y'all know I'm always discussing that. But we also do not pay for the deputies that the city of Amite pays for at our schools every day, and they're paying for that. They don't have to do that. And we also are using their street every day. They don't have to allow us to do
Hold on,
that.
We pay deputies.
we do pay SROs.
We pay SROs.
We pay through the sheriffs, but not in the city limits.
No, we pay the city of Amite for their
Well,
deputy.
We're also not paying for the use of this street. We lock the street down every day in the weekends that they're allowing us to do. That's a community service that they're
It's a
giving
side
us.
street.
And I think that's Punchtool does the same thing. And I just feel it's, it's still our building, it's still our equipment that went in the building. And I just think $500 is a fair amount. I just don't think that making an enemy of a community city that's helping us do a lot of things is that worth $300, because every dollar they get from FEMA or from their grant that they're getting to rebuild their building is going strictly for that, and whatever they have to give us, that's less money they have to rebuild their maintenance barn back. So I just feel like $500 is a fair amount. It's still our building, it's still our equipment that's in it.
Call the question on the amendment.
He called a question. Okay. Voting is open.
You're voting to change it to $500, right?
No.
From
No.
500 to 833.
5 to 833.
Changing it to 8:30.
So a vote for this would increase the rent from 500 to 833.
Voting is closed. Motion fails.
Move to approve action item C as presented by the committee. Need a second.
Oh, second.
Call for the question.
Call the question.
Yep.
Voting is open.
When will this take effect?
I guess once the town approves it, the way the contract's written, the town
Enough
has
time
to.
to get our stuff and move our stuff, and
I thought everything was moved out, but
there's still air conditioners stored there.
well, we're keeping 2 of the warehouses, but there's still I don't know.
Voting is closed. Motion passes. With Ms. Abrams, Mr. Piazza, and Mr. Anthony voting no.
Item B, consider approval of capital outlay committee of the whole agenda of March 14, 2023.
I motion to accept the committee's recommendations.
And I will second that.
I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Okay.
That's the one where we approved GoTech. Is Mr. Valerita here? Okay. I was just curious as to, I wasn't able to be here.
It's
It's
not.
not?
It is not.
It's capital outlay of March 14th.
This
Marks
is
Electric, it's not.
No, it says motion to approve administration recommendation of the proposal for GoTech for surveying and engineering services for Sumner High. That's what I
still up,
wanted,
Mr.
Mr.
Villalobos?
Valdez. So I wasn't able to be here. You know, my dad's been real sick, so I was at the hospital with him. But I'm just kind of curious, how do we just hire them? Did we go through a procedure? Did they have an application process? Or did we ask our other engineers in the parish, like Pontchartrain or Mr. Spangler's?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Based on the amount and the need to get the services started, it fell under the threshold for the amount and it was able to ask them.
So just hiring somebody as a service?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't have to have a procedure or anything to follow? You just hired whoever?
Well, we because it's an emergency, because the children's feet are getting wet, that I know the work that GoTech does, and they are very astute to their services, and so I went with them based on past performance and knowing their work.
And they're from Baton Rouge, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the other two parish ones, you just wanted to go with GoTech, obviously.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the threshold of
Well,
money? It's a threshold of money it was under that you could
It's
hire
under
who you wanted?
$50,000, yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, because you've been all about procedures and following this and doing that. I just want to make sure why we didn't follow procedure on this. Thank you, though.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Call to vote.
Voting is open.
Jerry?
Yes.
Okay.
Voting is closed. Motion passes with Ms. Dominguez voting no.
Okay. Item C, consider approval of Finance and Audit Committee minutes of February 28, 2023.
Madam President, move to pull from that agenda action item C and consider that action separately.
Oh, second.
Okay. Call to vote to pull item C.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Madam President, move to adopt the committee's report exclusive of action item C.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions? Any questions?
Call for question.
Call to vote.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Item C.
On action item C, it's my understanding that the administration has a new recommendation, specifically that the $15,000 stipends over 2 years would be only for new teachers with certification to the district as a recruiting initiative, and that the number of slots would be limited to 25 slots. Any additional slots would require additional approval from the board. So we would move that the board approve the new recommendation from the administration.
Why are you making the motion? It's coming out of the budget. You want to add what part of the budget?
I'm going to let Ms. Stilley present the full recommendation. I'm just trying to get a motion on the
So-
table.
so moved.
Okay, and then defer to Ms. Stilley for the
Okay.
full recommendation.
Motion and second. Questions, comment?
Ms. Stilley, is it just going to put it in the regular general fund budget, or is it the one?
Well, we're going to try to do federal funds. That's our first choice, to try to use federal funds for it, to attract new teachers to the district. It can be new graduates, or it could be teachers from other districts that it's a recruiting mechanism to get them here. And if not, we will have to do it out of general. But if it is in general, it will be in the proposed budget that we'll have coming out.
Do you think it would be out of the 1/2 penny?
No.
No, it would not be out of that?
No, I wouldn't recommend
Regular
that.
funds, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Any more questions? Call to vote, Ms. Cindy.
Voting is open.
Thank you for this plan. It's a much more plausible plan, Ms. Stilley.
Okay. Motion passes with Mr. Anthony voting no.
Okay. Item D, consider approval of Personnel Committee minutes of February 28, 2023.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Motion and second. Any questions, comments? Call to vote.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Board actions. Consider approval of option 1 or option 2 of the ESS proposal for the 2023-2024 school year. Mr. Jinko?
Good evening, Superintendent Stilley, board members. We come to you tonight with one of the two recommendations from ESS. They sent us two recommendations and we forwarded that to you. So we ask for your approval of one of them tonight.
Of one of them tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Does the administration have a recommendation?
The administration's recommendation is option 1, Mr. Westmoreland.
So that would keep them doing all the substitutes and all the staff, teacher staff?
For 1 year, yes, ma'am, with some penalties if they did not hit certain marks. And we've talked about having monthly meetings with them and quarterly meetings that we would report to the board with percentages and so forth to give you an idea of where we are.
And are you recommending this add option at the bottom?
No, ma'am.
Not recommending that?
No, ma'am. We're just going with pure option number 1.
Mr. Jinko, I do have a question. If, say, we were to do option 2, is your administration prepared in the time frame that we have to take on hiring all our substitutes like we used to in the past? Because my biggest thing is I don't want to create a hornet's nest out of something that, we're not prepared for. If we need another year to prepare for that, that's fine.
If we went with option 2, we would prefer another year to prepare ourselves for that. But we would do what we needed to do to be ready for August. It would not be an easy time, especially end of the year, over the summer is extremely busy for human resources.
Thank you.
Move to adopt recommendation from the administration on option 1.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second for option one.
Who seconded
Brent.
And I make that motion because I trust
Yeah.
the administration who are making these decisions that are doing this. I know it's tough. It's tough to find workers in this labor pool, and it's hard no matter which way you go, but
Yes, if we could guarantee you that we would increase the fill rate to 80 or above, we would not be having this conversation.
Right.
But as I told you at the committee meeting, I cannot guarantee that.
with the new steps in place with the contract, I think ESS is making an effort.
And it's a one-year contract, so we
Correct.
can address that if we need to.
And they are allowing retired teachers for employment,
Yes, sir.
correct?
We've got some clarification. 2020 and before is no issue. After 2020, there is an issue.
Thank you.
You know, Mr. Jenko and Dr. Fussell and I were discussing this earlier, and, you know, it's kind of a catch-22, but in fairness, you know, we've had the contract with them for 3 years.
Yes, ma'am.
We've had, in the middle of COVID, the pandemic, and a major hurricane. So the fill rates haven't been where we want them to be, but I'm not sure any field out there in the workforce is where they need to be with staffing. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, if we thought that it would be 100% better or even 90% better if we took over the subs for teachers, but we're not really sure if we would have better results at this point with staffing issues across the state and the nation.
I'm not voting for this. The board spoke to this and voted unanimously the last time we were here that we only wanted the administration to pursue a contract that would do support workers. I'm disappointed that the administration has essentially ignored that directive and come back with a different recommendation tonight. In addition, before that last meeting and before the board voted on it, we went and gathered input. The administration went and gathered input from our staff, and the input that we received from the staff was to only go forward with the support workers, and that the efforts with the teachers wasn't working. That's still what I hear, is that we want to move away from ESS when it comes to teachers. I understand, though, you know, y'all went back, you got a sweeter deal, but I'm ready to cut ties with ESS. I don't think they've performed up to par. We gave them an extra year. They used, this year was their extra year to make things right after the pandemic and after Ida. That was the excuse last year, and this past year was supposed to be the year for us to get ready to take this task back. And so now we're saying, okay, well, we want another year. So I'm not going to support this.
And I will ask that if we do decide to do any of these options tonight, I would ask that the administration make sure that before this contract becomes ready next time, that we can be prepared to make a better decision. Because I kind of feel like Mr. Duncan over there with my hands tied, because I'm doomed if I do, I'm doomed if I don't. If I say we take on 500, we take on all the responsibilities and we're not prepared, that creates another problem in the classroom and in the schools themselves. Whereas if we enter in option one, like Mr. Duncan said, we haven't got results. I know we've had issues in the past. We've had hurricanes, we've had COVID, but again, that's been a slippery slope for a while now. It hasn't just been those events. So I would like to ask the administration, if we do go forward next time, but when this comes up for renewal, let's try to put something in place just in case we don't want to move forward with ESS.
Proposal 2 is there, and if the board chooses proposal 2, it will be difficult, but we will be ready for August.
We've said that before too, Mr. Jenkins.
And you would hold me to my word, and I have no problem with that.
I just feel like it's unnecessary stress to add to personnel. Administration, and to my understanding, administration is still dealing with the policy that we made to correct the duty times. So it's like, fix the duty issues, and then also, hey, now we're going to throw all the subs at you as well. I feel like it's too much to swallow at one time. However, like everyone's saying, if we do decide to go a different route next year, maybe we can just start preparing. Not saying you're unprepared, but we just start preparing a little earlier. Then we can maybe make a decision after that.
Right.
Okay. So now we're voting on
Question.
option one.
Option one.
Voting is open.
Right now, you're voting for option one.
Voting is closed. Motion passes with Ms. Dominguez, Mr. Duncan, and Mr. Moore voting no.
Thank you, Mr. Jinko. Item B, consider approval to enter into a 90-day due diligence contract period with the owner of Yoakum Road Sanctuary Property. Ms. Steele?
Yes, so we have a consideration for the board tonight to consider a purchase agreement with the owner of Yoakum Road with a 90-day period that we could do the assessments on the property. It's for 3 buildings, 18 acres at 6.15 million. And the purpose of that purchase would be through ESSER dollars to expand pre-K seats across the district. So it would enable us immediately to add 260, I think, seats to pre-K. Any student in the parish would have access. There's no district line for it. Any student in the parish could have access to attend there. And I have Mr. Kudran here to talk about some of the details of the contract for the board to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Ms. Stilley. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, I was asked to prepare a suggested form purchase agreement for this property. It does contain a 90-day due diligence period, at which point you're free to undertake any inspections, any testing you want on the property. You would give the seller notice if you object to any condition, anything to title, and then the seller would tell you whether they intend to cure it. Now, this agreement, we believe, would require approval of the DSEG judge in the desegregation case. So there's an allowance for you to extend the due diligence period if that's required for up to 60 days to get approval for that. This agreement does provide for a final back approval from this board before there's final approval for the purchase. I'm happy to answer any particular question you may have. It does give you the right during the due diligence period, for any reason, for no reason, without limitation, you can just walk away if you're not satisfied with the property.
And explain the $5,000
Yes.
fee?
So we're and this is not negotiated with the seller, but we're not putting up a deposit. So traditionally, if you put up a deposit, then if you default, which basically means you've told the seller you're going to buy it, but you change your mind at closing, you lose the deposit. Well, there's no deposit. So what we did was we put in a cap that if we just default and don't go to the act of sale, even though we said we're going, we're going to reimburse them their expenses up to $5,000. So that's your limitation.
What would be a likely expense on their behalf? What would be a likely expense? Attorney's fees typically.
They may begin some curative work. So if we objected to some matters of title, if we objected to the condition of the property, and they began some work to cure that, but at the last minute we changed our mind, decided not to go to closing, in fairness, we should reimburse them for those expenses. We capped that at $5,000. In a traditional matter, if you put up a deposit, and if you defaulted, you'd lose your deposit.
Right.
So the purchase agreement is to consider buying it for the 6.15.
Yes, ma'am. It actually locks in the seller to sell to you at that price under these conditions if you choose to go forward with it.
Okay, but I thought we were leaning more toward the 4 million.
I can speak to that. To make a kind of a long story short, the seller was not willing to come off the price that he was offering. We got it, I say we, the people that were negotiating got it to this point, and it is what it is, which is why I think it's so important that we have that 90-day due diligence period, because if we decide during that period that we just don't think the value's there, we walk away. If we find some stuff during inspection that makes us question the value, we walk away. I will point out that there's been 2 appraisals. One was at 6.2 million and one was at 8.3 million. The one that was 8.3 was performed the summer of last year. So it does appear that we're getting a discount, if you will. Now, I'd argued a month ago or so that I felt 6 was too high, and I'm not saying I don't feel that way anymore, but what I'm saying is I think we owe it to explore it for 90 days and see if we think it makes sense or not.
Madam President?
Yes.
So, I do recall when we toured this building and they gave us a handout. I've got it, but it's in my bag. It was 6 million even. And then he said if we bought the other building, which has only been 2 years ago, that they would sell it to us for 4. So I'm not sure now all of a sudden we're not getting a discount because we've already bought all the other property anymore. Seems not fair.
This includes
But didn't he just put a new roof?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. There's a plethora of questions that we all have.
Yeah.
That's what I would support this today, to give us an opportunity to ask those questions and get a good answer, because not just buying a building, that's all fine and good, but running another campus is a lot of money, a lot of issues, maintenance, janitorial staff, electricity. I mean, it's a lot. It's not just buying a building. And we all know we have a lot of funds that are going to all these other buildings that we can't keep up. So all the questions in between would be great. We can write them down, get them answered. But I do recall that the offer was for 4 million when we toured it the first time, because we were going to buy the other one. So now, what happened to that offer or that negotiating process?
Well, I'm not sure about before, but I know that this includes the 19 acres of cleared property all around the three buildings. So it's the 3 buildings.
Some of that
and
was
the
wetlands too that we wouldn't even be able to use, huh?
I think the wooded part is wetlands, which is not part of the 19.
It's not part of the 19?
No.
Okay, because it was 3 or 4 acres or something, I think, yeah.
So I do have a question as well. I know we're purchasing this through ESSER dollars and not through the budget that's accounted. With other schools that could use remodeling or updating or expansion, I don't see this as being the appropriate answer here, because you're talking about $6 million to purchase the building, probably up to $2 million or more to renovate the building. Is the renovations going to come out of the budget, or is that going to be ESSER dollars as well? If it's not, well, then that's something we got to consider as well, because that's going to be out of our operating budget. And 2, could those ESSER dollars go to some of these schools that need those upgrades that's more pressing right now than, say, an event center or a pre-K center that's only going to be used in the Hammond area, or if you work in the Hammond area? Because Kentwood's not going to be able to come down and bring their kids to the pre-K center. Ameet's not going to bring their kids to the center unless they work in Hammond. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I think we need more pre-K programs, but I know we've requested at the last, outlay committee to get a list of properties we have throughout the parish. Do we have property now? We could build pre-K programs at a lesser rate than $6 million. I have a lot of questions. I know other members have a lot of questions. I don't doubt the idea. I think the administration is very bold to bring this forward. I think an event center would be wonderful. At $6 million, though, I think it's steep. I think that we are getting the bad end of the deal here with somebody that I think is hard to work with sometimes as far as a seller. When we saw the last time we purchased property on his grounds, I just think our money, I want to ask the administration, could we use that ESSER fund to remodel schools or to expand schools? Because I know that is under that guideline. Do we have time to do that, or is there an expiration date on these ESSER funds?
Yeah, so you can use the ESSER funds for other projects. I had emailed the board a list of projects. First we have to get approval from Department of Ed on anything this capital outlay type funding. They have priorities, within the State Department that they rank things, and so just because we submit something doesn't mean it would be approved. but we could submit it and certainly ask for other things. This pre-K, obviously, early childhood is a priority for both federal and state level, and so that's really the main reason why we were able to get that approved. It is 13 classrooms that we could use immediately, and the renovations is really about building 2, which we could have additional classrooms for pre-K. That's what that thought process came from. And we initially looked at funding through ESSER to help with the renovations of those classrooms, to add more classrooms. So it'd be more than 13 than what the building has right now. So I know there's a lot of questions, which is why we wanted to do the 90-day period, so we can get a lot of those things answered before it comes back to the board for a final decision.
Yeah, just real quick. She kind of hit what I was going to say, that, just keep in mind this, because I'm not sold on it either, but this is us doing a purchase agreement to actually go do the inspection, because we may find things through the inspection that would lower the price. But what I go back to is just the cost of construction per square foot. How much did we spend, Champ Cooper, on the addition?
Yeah. And don't have time to.
How much was that, though? What did we spend for the addition?
It's $7 million.
$7 million. We're getting 13 classrooms, not to mention an auditorium, not to mention 18 acres. That for me is enough selling point to at least enter into that agreement to go back and look at it and do our due diligence to inspect it and see if it is worthwhile per square foot compared to which, our crowding is on the south end. We know that. So we have to solve the crowding on the south end, or we start busing kids to the north end. So to me, it's enough for us to go forward with the 90-day.
And you're not going to get in on the ESSER money in the time frame if you, we're pushing Champ Cooper right now to get in on the time frame of the money. So building, I think, is, but buying another facility, to me, it's just, we have a lot of facilities that need a lot of work, and it's not just buying the facility. I want all the other answers of, the LA4 funding, it's only going to cover the teacher's salary and the para's salary, but that's not going to cover the principal or the people who are serving lunch or the janitors that are going to work there or any of that. There's a lot of funds that are going to be needed. So we would need to make sure that where that's coming out of the budget and all of those things. It's just a lot of questions. So this will give us an opportunity to get those answered, and we can vote yes or no at that time.
I would just like not to mention the disparities that we're suffering around the parish. It's already been kind of spoken about, but the disparities at Kentwood High School. And I know that we're doing things to address that, but we have not concluded how we're going to make those repairs. I look at the alternative school. It's like our contractors are failing to complete their commitment to getting those buildings redone. I don't see us. Listen, I know we need more classrooms for our preschools, but right now, the social emotional needs of these kids, the counseling that we need. There's a lot of things that are like right now needs. I know we're looking at the future needs and how we can improve what we're already providing, but there are some disparities, in the community that we need to address, and those things are gonna cost. We need funding. I believe that for right now, we need to address that funding towards those needs.
Okay.
So I totally agree, Jerry. The only issue is this is kind of money that if we don't use it, we lose it. I think it's kind of too late to refocus it. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe the ESSER money is covering the renovation piece as well. Do you know?
Yes, we had money that, because originally we thought it was $8 million, and that's what we went to the state to get approved.
Okay, so we can
Department of Ed, yeah.
break that down to 6 and 2, so that kind of covers the building cost as a whole. And I want to reiterate, I'm not saying I'm for or against the project when it's all said and done, but I'm certainly for exploring it. And that being said, so we have 90 days to really dig into it. I wouldn't recommend that we string this seller along for 90 days. I'd say in the next week or so, we probably need to meet as a board at the facility and get the physical, at least check out the physical aspects of it. and then probably take another week or two for us to compile all of our questions that we can submit to Mr. Valaruta, Mr. Jinko, Mr. McNeely, whoever the case, whoever needs to hear those questions. And maybe in a month to 6 weeks, we have all of our questions answered. And then we kind of decide, all right, yes, we want to move forward, or no, we want to let it go. But again, I think it's important that, that we do give it a shot, because having learned that the Champ Cooper edition was close to 6 million, I mean, this is a much, much larger campus with a lot more classroom space. And so it may be the deal of a lifetime. It might not be the best deal ever, but at least it gives us time to figure that out. So.
I'd like to say something too, Ms. Janice. Going back on what Joey was saying about kids from the north end not going to this school, we just had a conversation. This new facility we have in Independence, we have almost 300 kids that are enrolled in this facility already, coming from all over the parish. So I don't think that that would deter people from coming from the north end. We have teachers out there that teach in other parts of our parish that might be on the north end, that they don't have an opportunity to put their kids in a pre-K, and they send them to a private school because they're not accepted into our pre-K program. This is going to give our teachers an opportunity, our workers an opportunity to have their kids in a pre-K program that they're not allowed to go to right now because they don't meet the requirements. So Melissa said it today, and so did the governor. If we don't get our children learning reading in pre-K by the 3rd grade, we're going to lose them. So we need these I understand how much the facilities in our area, we need a lot of things. We really do. But if, just like Mr. Anthony said, I'm not totally sold on this, but we need to go ahead and just entertain the thought and give it these 90 days or as fast as we can, just to see if this is something we should do.
Okay, hold up. Cindy just told me we don't have a motion to discuss. So we need
a motion to adopt the administration's recommendation.
Yeah.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Tom?
We need a second.
Second.
Okay. Motion, second. Okay, Robert.
Okay, I'm done. Mr. Jerry.
I just wanted to say, for a point of clarification, is that, our plan is to provide transportation to families that need it. Okay, so some parents want to bring their students for pre-K, their children, some don't, or some can't. So we would work with the families to, get them close to where they are, but when those slots are filled up in their local school, this is an option of having additional slots in a central location, and we would envision having students from all over the parish attending this pre-K facility.
I have one more question. Since this is going to be kind of a preschool that anybody can use, can we make this school, can we not provide public transportation to it because of the fact that it won't have any district lines? I know most of our pre-K facilities are at a campus, so getting transportation there is not typically an issue, but can we make this facility carpool only? Is that an option to save some, some money on the budget?
That was what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
How we can't keep buses running now.
We don't have the
I got kids
drivers.
from the Champ Cooper that can't get a bus to run them. I mean, I don't want to commit to us driving pre-K kids when we can't even get our regular kids to school.
No.
Yeah, well, we have buses that are currently going up and down the parish now, so, I'm just saying that's an option for a central location or central pickup points. That is an option, or we can, if the board wanted to move that, that it is for parents to bring their students and pick them up.
I'm sorry.
I know that what everybody's looking at is trying to contain the budget so that we don't create extra costs.
There's a microphone on so they can hear you. I know we can hear you, but I don't think the TV people can hear you.
All right, so I just want to make sure that we understand that we're opening up, that even talking about opening up a preschool, that you have a great deal of the community who cannot afford to transport their kids there. So when you start talking about cutting the busing, to get the children there, you're talking about creating an extra burden on the parents who you're actually providing, a school for, But besides that, I would like to see us do some demographics. I would like to see us get some public opinion, public feedback on this, because the people in my constituents, they have different ideas about this. We even need to consider the fact that the school board owns properties that we could possibly build a school on. So until we have like a certified professional assessment done, I'm just not sold on us not getting into another Yoakum Road school situation where we spend twice as much money on that project as was originally determined. So we need to thoroughly think about this, and if I'm sorry, even if we lose the opportunity to purchase this property, I'm okay with that. I know that may not sit well with everybody, but I'm okay. We're not going to fall out over that either. But for me, the consideration as to what's going to be the most economical way for us to do this, and we do need it, I agree. But I do think that we need to figure out the most economical way to do it.
Okay. Brett?
I'm sorry. I wasn't going to say anything, but I just want to correct. I don't want to leave the impression that we paid twice as much for the Yoakum campus, Hammond Eastside campus, than we expected to. We paid a little bit more than what we originally thought, but we still got a steal and a bargain on that property, and the bargain that we got to be able to pull that off is what allowed us to fund additional construction at other campuses throughout the parish. And I don't know how I'm going to come down ultimately on this particular purchase or not. I want to get all of the facts just like everybody else. I want to see the inspection. But I do want to mention that part of what makes this campus a little bit more valuable now than what it was when we first started talking about it is because of the extra money that we spent running city, our parish water to the Hammond Eastside campus. So now we're no longer having to use kind of that outdated wastewater treatment facility that was providing sewer to that whole area. Now, if we were to buy this new campus, we can connect that new campus to the parish water system that we paid a lot of money to run to our new campus, the Hammond Eastside Upper Campus. But that's part of what makes it a little bit more valuable now is that we don't have that albatross of the old wastewater system.
That system pretty much is the lift station, right?
Right.
Is it going to be able to handle even because we're talking about, doubling up the...
Well, there may be an additional need to do some additional lift station work there, but a lot of that work is done to actually bring the sewer to that area, which wasn't there before. But the other point I wanted to make is I don't want the people, part of what I've heard in the community is that, why aren't we spending money on other things? And I'm not going to read the whole list, but I do want to put on record some of the money that we have been spending of late with the same types of funds that we're talking about spending for this new campus. We spent over $2 million to improve early childhood education. We're spent over $16 million to do evidence-based instruction, specifically after school, student learning conferences, virtual programs. We're spending $1.3 million to bring the Advanced Career and College Center online. We spent $2.7 million to do incentive funds for instruction. We did some salary supplements, some COVID supplements. We're doing over $3 million in HVAC renovations and upgrades throughout the parish. We bought 40 new buses for $4.3 million. We brought online an after-school and summer learning camp program to include transportation. We brought Chromebooks for every student throughout the parish. We upgraded our bus tracking applications. Again, virtual instruction licenses to include getting Verizon hotspots for children who need it. Lots and lots of sanitation work and maintenance work, over almost $7 million worth of that type of work. We did the Yoakum Road Hammond East Side Upper project. We budgeted the Champ Cooper construction phase 2, which is actually almost $8 million. We've budgeted the Woodland Park construction phase 2, which is over $4 million. We're looking at doing outdoor pavilions. We're doing, I think, I don't see it on here, but Ms. Stilley, am I missing all of the playground? Oh yeah, $600,000 for playground equipment at 14 different schools. And I'm not doing all of it, but I don't, part of what I'm hearing is, well, y'all are doing that and you're not doing anything else. And in fact, we're actually doing a lot of things everywhere to address tons and tons of needs throughout the parish. So I did just want to put that on record, make sure that we've addressed that.
Okay, Mr. Piazza?
My last comment, and this is really just a want list. I would love for this to be, because I know we approved a stipend for new hires, and I think this is a good tool. A pre-K program would be a good tool for not only recruitment, but for to keep our teachers here as well. I would like to see whatever pre-K program we do, that be our faculty be first dibs on a slot. That is probably, I know as a former teacher, I had to pay for pre-K, and it was a burden. It was a burden not only on my family, because we had, as teachers, we don't make a lot. So when you got to give $800, $900, $1,000 a month for a pre-K program, and there are some schools that right now, because of their demographic, fill up so fast that the current employees don't even get a chance to get their kid in. I think that does them a disjustice, seeing as they're the ones working at these schools and can't get their kids in. So I think moving forward, when we do pre-K programs, we need to set that in place that, hey, our faculty comes first, and then the rest will follow behind. Second, I would like to see, and Mr. Moore kind of pointed out about the transportation, it would put a burden on our budget for having to hire more buses. You'd have to get more drivers, which we have a shortage as of right now. We don't even have enough buses. There's a lot of things that could come up that could be a real big problem for future people on this board and for people in the parish. But what I think would help with that is if this was just one stepping stone. We say, okay, we're going to purchase this building for $6 million. This is going to be a hub for pre-K. But the administration in our long-term plan is going to build different hubs throughout the parish, maybe on the north end, maybe in the middle, so that way you're not having to bus kids from Kentwood to Hammond. We can have a nice pre-K center on the north end. We can have a nice pre-K center in the center, because we know that a child that goes into pre-K has a way better chance of success than those who do not. The earlier you are put into a classroom environment and are giving that love and giving that instruction and instilling that education, you're going to have a better shot. So I am all for pre-K. I'm all for, again, I don't know how we're going to side on this depending on how this 90-day works out. I think the idea is wonderful. I just would like to see a more long-term plan from the administration on this type of project. That's the only thing I would like to see. And I'm sure my constituents would agree. I don't think anybody would argue that pre-K is a bad idea. I just think we have a lot of questions. You have a lot of things that is going to affect your budget. And I think some of the demographic areas, it's going to put a burden on them to have to even travel.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, so I just want to say that there are a lot of needs, and every one of the needs that I've heard are legitimate. I've not heard one thing that we don't need in this parish. But the thing that I believe should take precedent over everything else is the health and safety of the students who are already in school. And so the schools that I have mentioned are schools that I have major concerns about. The roofs are leaking, the basements are flooding, the doors are rusting. I think that those things should be considered first. We should not forget about this. We should not consider Because I too, you know, I know that we need the facility for the reasons that it's been presented to us. I know that we need that. But at the same time, we've got kids who've been in these conditions, these safety and health concern conditions for a while. And I just don't see the progress in getting those things taken care of. I know that there are things in the making and that are being planned, but until I can see those things being funded and started and coming into fruition, I just cannot see us putting other things before that. We've made some great improvements, and Brett, I know we have a lot of things going on, and we should, because the school system is a huge industry here in Tangipahoa Parish. And so with an industry that big, you've got to have a lot of stuff going on, otherwise you're not getting anything done. But we cannot continue to neglect, the things that are more dire, and we should not let this go. We should continue to consider it, but we should address those needs first.
Okay, Ms. Rose? Just one more question for Mr. Andre. So if this contract says $6,015,000, what if we don't want to pay that much and we've signing this agreement? Are we locked into this amount of money if everything is capiche and all the inspection?
No.
Or is there any negotiating?
Sure. I mean, you have 90 days and you can decide for any reason, for no reason, you don't like the deal and don't want to go forward. That might result in a renegotiation of a purchase price, depending upon what your inspection shows, depending upon what objections you may have. So no, ma'am, you're not locked into this price. If you choose, you could just choose not to buy it.
It's kind of a conditional purchase.
That's what I'm saying. I want to make sure that that's on the verbal record.
It's in there.
No, that's in the agreement. That's in the agreement.
But as I understand what I heard you say earlier, but the seller is locked in at that six. If we decide to go forward, he can't go up from that. Is that mine?
Correct.
But we can go down.
Well, we can ask him to go down. He can say he's not going to go down.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct.
But if he can't go up from this figure.
Correct. We could, after signing this agreement, we can decide within the 90 days or 2 weeks or 30 days, 60 days, we want to do the deal, and he's locked in if this agreement's signed.
Right.
Well, this would give us time to do an inspection, but I would hope that we would have an outside inspector person, not one of ours, not one of Mr. Terry's new friends that he brings in, not one of our old friends, somebody that's going to be an independent inspector. I would feel much more comfortable with that. I don't know how.
I'm sure we'd have to get a bid on that. So.
Well, you have to get a bid, yeah.
I mean you
have
three
to get
bid process.
He doesn't have any friends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
To get an inspector. I mean,
that would probably fall under the 3-bid protocol, so I don't see that being the problem.
Can we, in the next 2 weeks, get 3 inspectors that the board can choose from, Mr. Terry? I'm sorry. I don't know if he was listening. Mr. Terry, can we get a list of 3 inspectors that we can choose from maybe at our next finance meeting, or can you organize that list and get it? All right.
Or at least a recommendation.
Well, I mean, just figure.
None of your friends.
Yeah,
none of your friends.
Yeah. Well, an impartial list is possible. Yeah.
Call for question?
Okay. Call for question.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes with Mr. Moore voting no.
Okay. Item C, review the request for qualifications, RFQ forms for architects and engineering. Mr. Terry.
Yes, ma'am. Right here we have the start of putting together the documents for putting RFQ on the street. We have the instruction sheet section, and then there is the actual application portion. And then there is the guidelines that describe the, what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then there is an ad for procuring the architects and engineers that's being developed. It's going to be taken from FP&C. Everything's been taken from FP&C and just tailored to Tangipahoa Parish School System. And then also for the committee, there's meeting procedures that we're developing as well. And those two documents are probably completed by the end of next week.
So, Madam President, I would move at this time that we refer this to our policy committee so that we can have a more complete and open discussion, and also so that we can have some additional time to review these documents. I just haven't, I think we got them uploaded last night. I haven't, and I've been in court most of the day, so I haven't had time to look at all of this. But I do look forward to the discussion, and I appreciate you guys putting all of this together.
Yes, sir.
So my motion is to refer this to the policy committee.
Second. Okay, motion and second, send it to policy.
Call them with.
No question? Okay.
Voting is open.
It's already been a long meeting.
Yeah.
When will be our policy?
Yeah, because I was going to ask that question too.
Should be the first Tuesday in April, huh?
Well, it should
Around
really
April
be
4th?
between.
It should be
whenever y'all
between
want
them, but we're gonna be
policy committee
convention.
chairman.
Yeah, you're going to have some people out for the first.
Yeah, we'll be out for convention.
And I'd like to add something to policy later, so.
I'll be here. We'll discuss it.
I don't know who's the chairperson.
Mr. Piazza,
And when they send out the
how do you
paperwork-
vote?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Who is the policy chair?
Motion is closed.
I think Robin's.
Voting is closed. Motion passes.
She'll be gone.
Take care of that.
Unanimous.
Call our meeting.
Yeah, she'll be gone. Okay. Update on the 2023 Annual Louisiana School Board Association Conference held in Lake Charles. Let's see. The 85th Annual LSBA Conference was held on March 7th through the 9th, 2023 in Lake Charles. Many topics were discussed, such as government relations, teacher retention and recruitment, federal updates, school safety policy, best practices for emergency preparedness, connecting to cloud-based learning resources, how to avoid liability for your district, long-range plans, and many more topics. The board members who attended were Jerry Moore, Trent Anthony, Joey Piazza, Rose Dominguez, Glenn Westmoreland, Tom Toller, Janice Richards, and Superintendent Melissa Stilley. I request this be inserted into the minutes according to the requirements of state law. Also, I must say that we were very proud to have our own board member, Ms. Rose Dominguez, to welcome us to the conference, and she is our LSBA president.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. I appreciate that.
Oh, okay, I'm still supposed to be doing something. Okay. All right. Now we will go to personal privileges. Ms. Rose?
Yes, thank y'all, and I appreciate you guys coming to conference to support me and yourselves. It was quite a fun event, and I think we all learned a lot. I'm really proud to be the president of the state and also serving on the national board. Our conference for that is coming up, so some of us are going to that. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity that it affords me by being the school board member here. And also, great conversations tonight, great discussions. Thank everybody. Thank Ms. Stilley and her staff for, working out all the kinks that we all throw at her every day. So we appreciate that. And no offense to you, Mr. Terry, I appreciate everything you're doing. I'm always teasing you, but I know it's a lot that you've stepped in. And I would also, I know Ms. Stilley may mention this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Ms. Deborah Anderson, we appreciate you. She was the new hire for to be under Jeff McNeely. I didn't see him here tonight, but I've worked with her back in the day at Punchtool High School when we worked together in PTA, and she was the PTA president right before I was. So welcome aboard. We're glad to have you on our staff.
I would like to congratulate all the students of the year. It did my heart good to see all the students, and as well as the schools making progress. And that's the bottom line, is our students and the schools that they're in, that they continue to rise to the level that we know we can do. So I appreciate the administration's endeavors in that matter, and we want to continue to progress in that. Thank you.
I would just like to, first of all, remind the teachers that our students will learn what you are teaching when they know that you care about whether or not they learn what you're teaching. I would like to express some of the sentiments that I've gotten from members of the constituency of my district and from other districts concerning equitable treatment for all aspects of our educational community. You know, I know we just finished talking about it, but I want to end with that. You know, my serious, deep concern about the opinions that the African American community has for this board. You know, the African American community is a part of Tangipahoa Parish. The population is right at 33%, and they are an important part of exactly how this parish flourishes. And education is essential to get them to the point where we can all be contributors. And I would like for that to be the last thing that I leave on the minds of the members of the board, is that we look to not just being transparent, but in being concerned about the opinions of the African American community, who probably suffer more disparage as far as education is concerned than any other members of the community.
Yeah, just real quick, I'd like to just remember Sumner High School's principal, Miss Matthews, Shaughnessy Matthews, was involved in a very serious accident last week on Friday. She's out. In fact, I saw her at the hospital today as she was breaking out, literally, and she was going down the hallway in her wheelchair. But so just keep her in your prayers. She has a long road of recovery ahead. So, and I was just talking to the superintendent about possibly whatever we need to do at Sumner to help with the administration. We have a new assistant principal there, Blake Wilson, who's doing a great job, but he just got thrown into a big seat immediately. So, and also want to congratulate all the student of the years. We missed a few from Sumner Middle, and because they were playing last softball game of the season, and she did not want to miss it, Montana, and I said, you can come to the next meeting and we'll make accommodations for her. So, and we have a few others to do as well for the same reason. So congratulations again to all the student of the year, and also the performing schools, the outperforming schools. So congratulations.
All right, I'm going to be quick. I just want to say thank you to my students that came, Daniel Clark, Taylor Graziano, and thank you to Dr. Hayden for helping us to organize all that and for sharing their time with us. Also, congrats to the student of the year, or students of the year. And nobody's mentioned yet, PHS boys basketball state champs. I'm stealing it. And girls basketball state runner-ups. I'm gonna, see if as long as I get to go, I'm taking all the sports.
It's not like you go first, guys.
No, it's all good. But Yeah, we can maybe switch it up next time.
Yeah.
But I want to point out, my son is going to be a freshman at Ponchatoula High School next year, and we went to the orientation last night, and Dr. Caminita had a wonderful program. It's a well-oiled machine. We already know who our guidance counselor is. And then the school up in Independence I guess it's called, somebody correct me with that, help me out. Advanced College and Career Center, sorry. It's remarkable. We're very lucky to have that in this parish. It's going to provide our students a leg up, especially if they choose to go for a 2-year degree. So I'm just really proud that we have that here, and I hope that the juniors and seniors will continue to sign up and take advantage of that program. So thank you.
Just want to say congratulations to all of our students of the year. LaRonja couldn't be here either. They had softball games going on, so they weren't here as well. But congratulations to them. Ms. Stilley did an awesome job today speaking at the Tangipahoa Chamber luncheon today. We all got to attend that, and the governor was there, and it was a very good meeting there. But it's almost there, guys. We're almost to May, so we've just got a little stretch left to go, so y'all hang in there.
So I just want to be known, I don't want to go behind Mr. Trent anymore because he steals my thunder with the basketball. I mean, Rose didn't even get it, and I thought that was who was going first. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend he didn't say it, but I want to congratulate the boys basketball for Ponchatoula High. They made history, first time ever, state championships. I want to thank and congratulate all of the student of the years and the staff that have raised their scores. I am this school system's biggest critic, but I'm also its biggest champion, because without looking at things through critic eyes, you don't ever see improvements or thrive to be more. And I want to say, for these schools to come out and do what they've done after a pandemic and a hurricane, to see test scores rise is an absolutely amazing achievement, not only for the administration, but for the staff that brought it there, the teachers that spent the hard hours putting in the work to get these kids prepared for these tests. So that does not go unnoticed, especially from somebody who's been in the classroom. I want to thank those teachers who may have not gotten that recommendation tonight, but thank y'all for what you do. Thank you for the administration for their guidance and those teachers, and for the students to put forth the effort to be better and to achieve Student of the Year. Second to last thing is going to be Mr. Moore's comments and Mr. Brett's comments were amazing tonight. Guys, it's okay if we disagree. That's how we come to common ground. That's how we make improvements, because that's how we find new ideas to come out. Mr. Moore, with his comments about equality and about these things that need to be happening across the parish for these improvements, and Mr. Duncan showing the public that we are working very hard as a board and administration to improve the day-to-day. There's a lot of things going on across the parish in our school system. We are doing a very hard job that you might not get to see behind the scenes. And so I'm very thankful for both of these men tonight to stand their ground and to give their sides on it. And that's about it. The conference was wonderful. I got to bond with a bunch of these guys. I learned a lot as a young board member, a bunch of new things. And I want to thank y'all for having a wonderful board that stands up for their principals, for their constituents, and for the Tangipahoa Parish school system. So thank every single one of y'all on this board.
Last couple of meetings I haven't done, but so I can't go 3 meetings in a row. I mentioned earlier that the meeting had gone a little bit long and I was getting tired, but it reminded me of some things that I did the last few weeks. And look, being part of this board, it can be exhausting. Being a part of the administration, it can be exhausting. Most of the time we spend our time and energy fighting over adult issues where adults are fighting essentially for their piece of the pie, right? Architects and contractors fighting for their piece of the $300 million budget that we control, the issues with the DSEG case, and, dress code, God forbid, dress code, only once a year, please, hiring issues, again, these are all adult issues, and they can be exhausting and demoralizing sometimes. Just having to be in the middle of these fights, or Mr. Moody's phone going off. But the good thing that happened is over the last few weeks, we got getting to see the Ponchatoula teams have the success that they had. So it was very exciting. seeing our students of the year and celebrating them, seeing the school performance scores rise. Those things are exciting. The ones that really energized me, though, was I actually went to the You Be the Chemist contest that we had. I went to the district social studies fair that we had at Southeastern. Getting to see the Torbotics team off to go to their regional competition where they earned the ability to go to the world competition again, which I think is their third or fourth year in a row. Just amazing. But actually seeing these things and the great things going on in our school system, and being reminded that although we squabble about these adult issues, at the end of the day, it's all about these kids. It's all about the great things that are going on with these kids, and seeing the growth that they have. And we're about to go into graduation system. It only gets better in the months ahead. So that re-energized me, and I know it re-energizes you guys when y'all get to go and see that and be a part of it. But it was encouraging, and I'm looking forward to the months ahead, and looking forward to this board continuing to work together with its focus being on the kids and what our kids need from us. So it was a good night. Thanks, y'all.
Yes, I just wanted to officially welcome Miss Deborah Anderson to the team, and she's on the second. You completed your second day on the job here, and she has yellow. She looks like sunshine out there. So it's great to have you on board. Welcome to Team Tangi. I know she was a teacher previously at Ponchatoula High School, taught accounting, but she's also has a very impressive resume of working with an auditing company, own accounting business, so forth. So welcome to the team, and it's great to have you on board. Also, I want to say that we have 40 days until school is out, or maybe a few days less than that right now. We had a district ILT meeting Monday, and I was telling the instructional team who go out and support teachers and principals that, time is a thief, because I can't believe it's 40 days. 15 days until high school begins their window for assessments, for the state assessments, and then 20 days until the grades 3 through 8 begin their testing window. So it's a crunch time for us, and I know our teachers, as Mr. Piazza said, they're working extremely hard, and I know that they feel a lot of pressure about this time to cover any standards and content that's left to be done. So kudos to all of our teachers out there who are in the trenches, making it happen every day against sometimes a lot of obstacles. So we appreciate that, and that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this concludes our meeting for tonight, and I want to thank everybody for their input. And like Brett says, it's a lot. It's a lot that we sit here and debate about and try and come up with the best outcome that affects our kids in a positive way. Oh, I also like to say, Tom, that reminded me when I looked at you of all of the schools who did just such a wonderful job on the lunch program and exposing them and bringing in the board members and the chief of polices and the mayors, and we got an opportunity to see what it was like to actually work in the cafeteria and serve. So we have a greater appreciation, let me tell you. But much love. Yeah. So if nothing else, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.